After auditing 30 plus e-commerce brands, here are the top 5 email marketing mistakes that I see all the time, and I'm going to show you how to fix them. Over the course of the year, these mistakes can cost e-commerce brands upwards of $500,000 to $1 million in lost revenue. And I've seen this happen not with just like small brands that don't really know what they're doing. Like, these are well-established 7 and 8 figure e-commerce brands that we're talking about here. Meaning, it's very likely that you watching this video right now could very well be making these mistakes. So buckle up, watch right until the end of this video, because the next best time to fix these mistakes is right now. If you don't know me, my name's Kieran. I've generated over $7 million in e-commerce email marketing revenue. Right now, currently partnered and working with very top leading 7 and 8 figure e-commerce brands, primarily in the USA and Australia. And in total, we've sent over like 22 million emails. So hopefully that gives you some confidence that I know a thing or two. I've also got a bunch of social media, and here's some of the results that we have generated. So let's get straight into it. Top 5 email marketing mistakes that, again, like I said, you could be making right now. So let's fix these ASAP. Number 1 is not prioritizing your list growth. So this is the very first thing that I look for inside of klaviyo accounts, because it's always such a low hanging fruit. Everyone forgets about this. You gotta remember that your email list is an asset to your business, and you should be increasing the amount of potential customers, prospects that you can retain / remarket to. And that should always be like a number 1 priority in your email marketing. If you think about it, it's kind of like the fuel that generates revenue from your campaigns and your flow automations. So if your pop-up conversion rate is low, same thing with your campaigns and your flows. You're not going to see much of not much success there. So most brands that I see when I go into their klaviyo account, they're usually stuck at 2 to 3% conversion rate, whereas you want to be around 6 to 12%. Like 6% at least is very, very attainable for a lot of brands. And you don't want to be tricked by klaviyo's excellent status here, because like I said, it's very, very achievable to get to at least 6%. So if you're currently at 2-3%, you could potentially double that. And if you increase your pop-up conversion rate, if you think about it, this is going to improve the rate that you build up your email list, build up your asset, and therefore drive more traffic through your flow automations that you've built out, and therefore more revenue that you generate over the long term. So if you're not, if you've got some flow automation set up right now and they're not converting as much as you would like them to, if you think about it, it's far easier to focus back on this pop-up conversion rate, tweak this, than try to go through each and every email in each and every flow automation, trying to tweak the design, copy, A/B test this and that. Whereas if you simply just double the amount of people entering your email list, you therefore double the traffic going through these flows, and therefore double the revenue. And we did exactly this. Like, this is a really good example. By simply tweaking the pop-up, made some really good changes. It was converting around 5%. We literally doubled that to 10%. You can see here over like the previous 30-day period, they generated 5.6K revenue, only had 800 deliveries. But here, the 30-day period after, we doubled those deliveries, and therefore, very similarly, we doubled the revenue to over 13K. So that's without touching the design, copy, or anything on this email. It's literally just going back to the pop-up and tweaking that, because that's kind of like the foundation of getting a lot more revenue traffic into your flows. So a few things you can do with your pop-up is make sure you have a nice, big, clear header with your offer. In this case, it's $50 off. Right front and center. You want that to be like the first thing that the customers look up and read. The other thing you want to do is only have one input field per step. So really, in the majority of e-commerce stores, you really just need their email. That's it. You don't need to worry about their first name or favorite color or what product collection they're interested in. First and main priority with the pop-up is always to get their email address. And then you want a good direct response CTA. So get your code. I see a lot of brands that, if they split up their pop-ups into multiple steps to grab the SMS number as well. Sometimes people say continue here, but again, we don't want to say that because then we're almost giving it away that there's more steps to the pop-up. We just want to make it look as easy as possible. Put in the email, get the code, and you can also grab or put an image here as well with some like lifestyle imagery with your product in action. That's really good. To add in some other things we're seeing some really good success with lately at the time of this recording is, if you don't have a really strong standing offer or, you run out of ideas, I would highly recommend A/B testing, making that a mystery, like a mystery discount. So then people are signing up for, again, a mystery. It creates a kind of like gamifies it a bit. So very, very simple there. And another really good thing that we've been seeing work really well is a micro commitment. So we're simply just asking them, hey, do you want 10% off? And then without giving the input field of the email inbox, we simply just give them a yes, no, yes, please, or no, I'd rather pay full price. Now, the theory with this is if they click yes, they're more micro committed to fully completing the rest of the pop-up, because the next step after this would just be the normal ask for their email. Number 2 is inconsistent campaigns. This is a big one. So unlike your flow automations, your campaigns is a manual job because you send them out one time to your email list. And it's very typical for founders wearing a lot of hats, marketing managers, or maybe even your full stack marketing agency to put this on the back burner if things get busy. And with e-commerce, that can happen quite a lot. So when you stop sending consistent email campaigns, you lose momentum with your email list. And over the course of the year, this can add up to hundreds of thousands of potential lost revenue. So this screenshot that you're seeing here is what we actually found auditing a multi-7-figure brand. And you can see here the blue with the campaign revenue. They were a bit really consistent here, here, here. But in these dips, when they just completely forgot about it, didn't even bother doing that, we did a rough calculation and it was estimated that they lost around 200 to 250 grand over the course of the last 12 months, simply just by being inconsistent. So it's a bit hard because it is a manual job. You have to create a new email campaign, multiple times a week, but you can see how much revenue you can be losing here, especially if you are a big multi-7 or 8-figure brand. So typically you want to aim for your campaign and flow revenue to be generating around 50-50 of your total revenue that comes from email marketing. So you can check that just on your home dashboard. You can see the percentage ratio here. And if one is outweighing the other, like this example, we're only at 26% when the flows are at 73%, it could be a sign that you could be doing a bit more with your email campaigns. Or similarly, if the campaign's outperforming the flows, then maybe you should be adding more emails to your flows, that type of thing. But that is a really good sign, just looking at the home dashboard. Another thing with consistent campaigns is that you stay top of mind. So with every new campaign you send, you increase the amount of touch points a new potential customer has with your brand. And if you have more touch points, the more familiar, more trusting a potential customer becomes with your product and brand. And it could be very well, if you're inconsistent with your campaigns, your competitors could be swamping your market away from you. You gotta remember, like, a lot of people are shopping around, they're looking for better deals, they're signing up to multiple different email lists. If your competitors are sending more campaigns than you, more consistently, these potential customers are gonna feel a bit more trusting towards your competitors over you, simply just because they've seen their brand, they've seen that logo, brand awareness. Just more over your brand. So here's some like value-based emails that you could be sending. Again, they don't have to be selling. You don't have to do anything of that. You can go over the Mythbusters, FAQs, any preconceived notions. You can see here on this toothpaste brand that actually it's like edible toothpaste. But we go over a bunch of FAQs and then link them to the actual full FAQs. Again, we're giving away another FAQ here. Is your battery ready for the long ride? And we go over some really good short value propositions there. And then here with the keto brand, like a CPG kind of brand, talking about just how easy it is to get into keto, decreasing the risk there and the amount of time and effort it has on the customer as well. So that's really important. So number 3 is overcomplicating your segmentation. Getting too fancy with this can actually be killing your revenue. So when you try and segment out a specific set of people who may be targeted towards a specific campaign, let's say, for example, you're sending a campaign about a specific product and you just segmented out a portion of people that's looked at that product before or looked at that collection before, you'll actually find that that segment of people is like only a handful of people compared to what you could be sending to. And the most important thing I'm trying to get across here is, the less people you send to typically means the less revenue you're going to generate. Because who's to say that sending to a slightly less targeted but much broader audience won't make a purchase anyway? I've seen many times we send out a campaign about a specific product, then we actually check the placed orders of people that's opened and clicked on the email. They've just purchased something completely different. That's because they clicked on something, they found something interesting, they went shopping, we brought them back to the website, they went shopping, and they found something else that they like. So it's really a wrong way to do this, and that is trying to create all these little hyper-specific segments, going crazy on it like this, when really you just need to keep it super, super basic. And what I mean by that is by sticking to your engaged segmented list. So that's your 30-day, 60-day, or 90-day engaged lists. Because the more recipients that you send to in each campaign generally means the more revenue you can expect to generate. However, that doesn't mean to send your entire email list, because that's also a bad recipe for poor email deliverability, sending to potentially a lot of inactive contacts. So as a bit of a middle ground, it's really easy just to stick to the 90-day, 60-day, and 30-day engaged list for about 80% of your campaigns. For the other 20%, the other 1 or 2 odd campaigns, there's a few segments that is still worth sending to, and that will be anyone that's purchased at least once. So maybe here you want to have an exclusive offer to just people that have become customers, and you can acknowledge that in the email. Maybe you want to ask for a review or survey kind of request campaign. The other common segment that will still have a very large amount of subscribers and recipients that you can send to is anyone that hasn't purchased. So here, maybe you really want to do a super targeted FAQ, common objection, again, an exclusive offer to these people to get them to make their first purchase, all with the messaging to the fact that they aren't a customer yet. So if you are sending to these segments, I'll be super specific in the email messaging and just acknowledge like, hey, we noticed you haven't made a purchase yet, just so you can like personalize it that bit extra. Same with female or male segments. So if you don't know, in Klaviyo, they have a predicted gender segment that you can create, and they basically just like look at the first name and make a guess if this person is female or male. And of course, you can also do relevant emails to that as well if you're only talking about a topic that is only relevant to men or women. These segments, still provide a sizable email list to send to, but if you go anywhere more specific than this, then you want to be careful that you're not getting too fancy. So this is a really good example for anyone that maybe sending to a non-purchaser list. It's basically just the exclusive offer saying, hey, it's been a while since you signed up. We noticed you haven't made your first purchase yet. So we're personalizing it like that. And then we give them a specialized offer towards 10% off. And this is what I mean by segmenting towards either female or male. We have specific emails for each of those genders. Number 4 is repetitive templated designs. Nothing bores a reader more than knowing exactly what they're going to open and read for the 27th time. Repetitive emails is a fast way to create an inactive email list, and it's very easy to slip into this habit using just those Klaviyo templates that you see there when you try to create a campaign. But as you can see, they don't look the best at all. It also brings up another issue, which is dark mode optimization. So right now, if you're building emails with like Klaviyo text blocks and things like of that nature, you've got to be aware that these actually invert the colors on dark mode mobile devices, making it look really clunky, unappealing to read, compared to, maybe you've seen this on your competitors, those really nice email designs that look really good on any device you open, whether it's at desktop, mobile with dark mode. It just looks really, really good. And that's actually because they're uploading the email designs all in images. So that's one way to circumvent this dark mode thing. But you can see here, like, it looks really clunky with the images, the white background, because I haven't cut it out to PNGs. And this could very well be happening to you right now if you're using a lot of Klaviyo text blocks and things of that nature. And yeah, it's worth pointing out, like, around 40% of email users across Mac use dark mode, and roughly 80% of Android users prefer dark mode on the devices. So it's very much a large portion of your email list could be receiving clunky, just unappealing emails that kind of look like this. So like I said, the way to circumvent that is actually designing the emails externally, uploading them as images. And then for email deliverability concerns, you want to still add it in a bit of text, like a bit of HTML or native text into your email footer. Number 5 is short flow automations. So putting great content in your flow automations is one thing, but making sure you have enough email follow-ups to actually convert these people into a sale is another. So once you gotta understand, once someone adds something to cart, the battle only just begins. It may take another 5 to 10 days before they actually feel ready to purchase. And we've seen this plenty of times. We build out these abandoned cart flows to up to 8 emails long, and there's still people purchasing on that last email. And throughout these flows, adding in more emails, it's your chance to push more educational content, answer FAQs, dismantling preconceived notions, and any other risk reversals. So here's a really good diagram of an example of email flows being too short. So I think this was only the only third email in the flow, and you can see this is the last email of the flow. But if we segment it back over the last 30 days, there's still a ton of people clicking, opening, and most importantly, converting into customers on this last email. So it really makes logical sense just to extend this out more and follow up with the customers a bit more, because there's still going to be a ton of people that just still aren't sure yet, and they still need just reminders. So you can see here on this diagram, this is for a welcome flow, for example. You can see there's a ton of people that purchase from that first email. Still a ton of people in the flow. These people get kicked out as soon as they make a purchase. And sure, the size of the recipients decreases after every email, after more people purchase. But you can see if you cut the flow off right here on the third email, that's a lot of potential customers that could have made a purchase if they had a bit more nurturing with a bit more emails inside of this flow. So how long should you build out these flows? That's a very good question to ask right now. The truth is it really varies from store to store. If you're currently doing 50K per month in revenue, you only have so much traffic entering into your flow automations via pop-up, and therefore it only makes sense for the time and effort that you have to really build out 3 or 4 emails into each flow. Now, if your store does over 500,000 per month in revenue, then it makes sense to really extend these flow automations, 8 emails or even longer. As a general rule of thumb, though, if you look at your current flow automations right now, if the last email in it is still generating a significant amount of revenue over a 30-day period, then it's probably best to start adding in a few more emails. So you kind of want it like this, if this makes sense. There's still people purchasing all the way through the flow that you notice. It's very natural for the open rates and click rates to drop over time the longer the flow goes on, because we're kicking out the most active people out of the flows. So if you notice that, the very last email in your flow, maybe it gets 1 or 2 purchases every here and then, that's probably best just to keep it. I would say that's pretty optimized, because you don't want to go too overboard, create too many emails where literally no people whatsoever is purchasing on these last 3-4 emails that you created, and you're only getting like really bad engagement rates, really bad low click rate and open rates, which if you think about it, that's only going to hurt your email deliverability. So you're better off actually just turning off these flows because you simply just don't have enough traffic to still generate purchases. So guys, thanks for watching. If you want to work with me, it's the first link in the description. You can book in a call and we can go and give you a free Klaviyo audit and a 90-day action plan completely for free. Especially if you have any more questions on, how long to build out flows particular for your specific store, or how do you design email designs outside of Klaviyo and things like that. We can give you all the answers and give you a full done for you service if you are interested. First link is in the description. Hope you found this video helpful, and let me know any questions in the comments. Cheers.